The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leadership Unscripted. Tonight, we're talking about something almost everybody watching has experienced: bad customer service. But I'm not interested tonight in simply talking about rude cashiers or complaining about businesses. I'm not too interested in that tonight. I want us to go deeper. Because customer service is actually a leadership conversation, whether we like it or not. It is a leadership conversation. It's a culture conversation. It is a human dignity conversation. What did I say? Leadership. It extends beyond rude cashier. Yeah. It extends beyond that. It extends way beyond people being rude. Customer service is a leadership conversation. We're seeing that tonight. We're seeing that customer service tonight, it is a culture conversation. If your service is bad, if your customer service is bad, that's a culture you've created. And it starts with leadership. It starts with leadership. And we're also saying that bad customer service is a human dignity conversation. So tonight's topic: people don't forget bad service. They remember how small you made them feel. Isn't that so? We remember every bad experience we've had with a company, with an organization, we remember. So let me ask you something tonight. Have you ever walked into a business ready to spend your money, your hard-earned money, and somehow left feeling as though they were doing you a favor? That ever happened to you yet? You walk into an organization, going there with your hard-earned money, and you leave thinking that you're doing them a favor? No, they were doing you a favor, when it's you doing them a favor? Hear this one. Have you ever called an organization because you genuinely needed help, and the person answering the telephone sounded irritated that you called? Have you ever called some of these customer service, the customer service department of some of these organizations, and they sound irritated by you calling? And their customer service, you call for help, and they sound irritated. Have you ever had those experiences? Let me hear from you. Hear this one. Have you ever stood at a counter while employees continued their private conversations as though you weren't standing there? Have you ever experienced that? You're in an establishment, a bank, a school reception area, the hospital, and they're standing there. The employees are standing there having their own private conversation as though you weren't standing there. Some of them even see you standing in the line, and they put up next counter, not open, and you're standing right there. They see you in front of them. Have you ever sent an email and got no response? Yes, why I'm good. As a leader, you must exemplify great customer service. Exactly, Kaf. So have you ever sent an email to an organization or company and you got no response? You sent another, no response, saying they don't respond to you? And when you called, they tell you that someone will get back to you, and nobody eventually did. Then you call again, and somehow you're treated like you're the problem. Have you ever had those experiences? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. That is what we're going to be talking about tonight. But here's where I want us to challenge us. Before we spend 45 minutes talking about what other organizations are doing wrong, we're also going to turn the mirror around. Because some of us complain about bad customer service, maybe providing it tomorrow morning. What did I say? Some of us on this very live who will be talking about bad customer service tonight, you may be providing bad customer service tomorrow morning. And that's where this conversation gets uncomfortable. So I want you to tell me in the comments, what is the worst customer service experience you've ever had? Don't name any business, please. Just describe the experience. What is the worst customer service experience you've had? What is the worst customer service experience you've had? I can go first. Sometimes you call a company, especially these banks nowadays, and they transfer you from one department to the next department to the next department. Some of these banks, customer service, horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. You call them and they transfer you all over the place. And sometimes you just hear the phone hang up. Bad customer service. So I want somebody in the live to tell me, in the chat to tell me, what is the worst customer service experience you've ever had? Because I'm sure everyone on the live had some experience of bad customer service. It's not me alone. I'm sure it's not me alone. And it's not the CEO for the Bellevue Hospital in Kingston alone who had that horrible experience yesterday. Oh, by the way, her daughter was treated. It's not her alone. A lot of us experience bad customer service. Does anybody care to share? Have you ever had a bad customer service? So let me say, since you're afraid to share, let me ask you something more simple. When you experience bad customer service, which bothers you more? A, someone who's openly rude, or B, someone who completely ignores you. CAF says, getting petrol and there's no communication. Silent service. True. 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 So wait, which bothers you more? A, someone who is openly rude, or someone who completely ignores you? Certified says, businesses pages when they leave a number and you call for so long and yet, exactly, there's no answer. No answer at all. And sometimes when you call, they sound so irritated on the phone. They sound irritated on the phone. You can hear it in their voice. They sound irritated. And if you call more than once, you realize sometimes they don't answer. It's like they mark your number. They don't answer when you're calling. And sometimes you walk into some establishment and the person at the front, they literally ignore you. Like, you're transparent. Like, they look right through you. And they don't acknowledge you. And when you try to get their attention, they treat you as if you're bothering them. Have you ever had those difficult experiences? Hear this one. Have you ever walked into some establishment where the security guards act as if they own the building? Have you ever gone to an establishment where the security guards act as if they own the building? Not the bad. You have some good, you have some security guards who give professional customer service. But then you have others who act as if they own the building. Have you ever gone at that experience? We would swear the building belonged to them. So here's what bad customer service actually looks like. Here's the first mistake we make. We think bad customer service means someone shouting at you. That's obvious bad service, of course. But some of the worst customer service is actually very quiet. Bad service can look like this. Hear them. Good evening, Marie. Welcome, welcome. Bad customer service can look like this. You enter an office and nobody acknowledges you. Not even good morning. You approach a desk and the employee never looks up from the phone. You ask a question. Their response, I don't know. Full stop. Or they said no. Let me find out. Or they don't say, let me direct you to someone who can help you. Just, I don't know. Have you ever had those experiences? Bad service is being transferred from one person. Bad service is being transferred from person to person because nobody wants ownership of your problem. Do you think those actions simply from them? Kaf, I'm not sure. I'm not understanding the last part of your sentence. They are transferring it from person to person because nobody wants to take ownership of the problem. Bad service is hearing, that's not my department. That's bad service. No, maybe it isn't your department, but you're still a part of the organization. And there's a tremendous difference between that's not by my department and I'm not the person who handles that, but let me help you find the right person. Same situation, completely different experience. And that's the point. Customer service is often less about whether you can solve the problem and more about how you treat people while trying to solve it. Do you think those actions stem from demotivated staff? Could be. But some of them, they're just rude by nature. Some of them become too comfortable. And also sometimes leadership doesn't have those conversations. You know, there's a lot of people start new employment and there's no orientation as relates to what customer service looks like in this organization. People just assume you should know. The leaders don't sit and have that conversation to say, at so-and-so establishment, this is how we operate. There isn't a formal policy and document that speaks specifically to customer service. Do you know that a lot of organizations don't have that? Do you know that a lot of organizations just have their 2-day or 1-day orientation and leave customer service just there? And 1 and 2 day cannot fully upskill your staff as relates to the expectation for good quality ongoing customer service. So a lot of organizations miss it. They miss it. Even in schools, the front office staff, the teachers, a lot of principals, a lot of leaders do not speak to their staff or have professional development session on customer service. Because what they don't understand, students are our customers. Parents are our customers. And how they walk away experiencing you determine whether you provided good customer service or bad customer service. And a lot of institutions don't have that conversation. They assume people should know how to deal with each other. They assume a teacher has all the soft skills to deal with parents in a respectable way. Sometimes it's not so. Sometimes it's not so. And a lot of organizations do not have policies that speak to customer service and how it should look like in this establishment. So, Kaf, it can be demotivated staff, but even if you're demotivated, the company policy should dictate how you operate. Renzo says, while companies can do training for customer service, the first step actually starts with the individuals. It does. It does. It does. And that's why it is important for the organization to establish what good customer service should look like. And if you can't, live up to that expectation, go somewhere else. It's simple. If you cannot live up to that expectation, go somewhere else. When people walk into this office, they should feel welcome. They shouldn't be dismissed. So it starts with the individual, but when you're going to have those individuals who just set in their ways, and when they're set in their ways, it means you have to part ways with them because they are representing your organization, whether you like it or not. They are representing you. You're not at the front page, you're the leader. You're not at the front. They are representing you. Everyone who answers the phone for the organization is representing the organization. So what by bot service, what it feels like? Now we're getting deeper. Because policies happen on paper, and this goes to what Renzo is saying. Policies happen on paper, but service happens emotionally. When someone is treated poorly, they don't simply think that was inefficient. No, they feel something. They may feel invisible, unimportant, embarrassed, frustrated, powerless, sometimes even humiliated. And that's particularly important when the person already feels vulnerable. So imagine an elderly person trying to understand an online system. Imagine a parent desperately trying to resolve something concerning their child. Imagine someone at a hospital worried about a family member. Imagine someone at a bank trying to understand why their money isn't available. Imagine someone entering a government office who doesn't understand the process. That's not the moment you demonstrate how much you know. That's the moment you demonstrate how much you care. And sometimes we forget something fundamental. What is routine to the employee may be extremely important to the customer. And that's why some companies stereotype who they hire because some demographic are exactly. Yeah, man, some of them are to train for real. They're rough around the edges. They're rough around the edges, Renzo. You're on point. Sometimes they're rough, and some people just don't fit. Some people should leave customer service alone. Some people think customer service is an easy job, so they go into that area. Some people need to leave customer service alone. A lot of us need to leave customer service alone. So hear this. You've processed 50 applications today. For the person standing in front of you, it's their one application. You've spoken to 30 parents. For that mother, it's her one child. You've handled 20 complaints. For that customer, there's only one problem, and this is their problem. So when you're dealing with people, never allow familiarity with your job to make you insensitive to someone else's experience. And a lot of people in customer service forget that. That the person standing in front of you doesn't care about the 2 million other people you've dealt with earlier. A parent standing in front of a teacher doesn't care about all the other parents you've had to deal with. They care about their child. They care about their problem. And it is us, as individuals, who need to be emotional. Exactly, that's where emotional intelligence comes in. Exactly, Kaf. That's where emotional intelligence comes in. Never allow, because you're familiar with a job, it makes you insensitive. So now, I want us to become uncomfortable. Don't answer this question, please. Don't answer this question in the comments. I want you to answer it privately. Have I ever made someone feel stupid for asking me a question? Think to yourself. Have you ever made someone feel stupid for asking a question? Let me hear from you. Don't answer in the comment, you know. I want you to reflect on this one. Have you ever made someone feel stupid for asking a question they genuinely didn't have the answer for. They genuinely didn't know. And they ask and you let them feel comfortable. Ask yourself, have I ever sighed when someone approached me? Have I ever rolled my eyes? Have I ever deliberately taken longer because the person annoyed me? Have I ever ignored an email because I didn't feel like dealing with it? Have I ever said, when I could, that's not my responsibility, when I could easily have helped? Have I ever treated someone differently because I believe they weren't important? That's the reflection tonight. Because customer service isn't only about what they need to change, it's about us. We provide the service to the customer. So here's where tonight's conversation becomes even more uncomfortable. Do we provide the same service to everyone? That's a genuine question. Do we provide the same service to everyone? Suppose someone walks into an organization wearing shorts and slippers. How are they treated? Now suppose someone enters wearing an expensive suit. Do voices change? Do smiles suddenly appear? Does somebody suddenly become available? What happens when the person says, actually, I'm here to meet the CEO? Interesting, isn't it? Sometimes we don't have a customer service problem, but we have a what? A status problem. You realize sometimes you're going to some establishment and they treat people based on how they look. They're coming in suit and tie, and you're treated a different way. And you may not know that that person in their little white tees and their flip-flop is actually a billionaire. You don't know. Sometimes in these organizations we have a status problem. You treat people based on how they look. You're in customer service, but yesterday you're treating people based on how they look. You don't treat all customers the same. You don't smile and be friendly with all customers. You treat people based on how they look. You roll out red carpet for some and give some the rocky road. You over-explain for some and barely give some information. Have you ever experienced that? And that is where customers, they have a status problem. Not a customer service problem, a status problem, where you treat people based on how they look or based on their family name. You treat them better than others. So we treat people according to who we think they are. And that's not service, that's performance. Real professionalism means the cleaner receives respect. The CEO receives respect. The delivery driver receives respect. The parent receives respect. The child receives respect. The difficult customer receives dignity, even when their behavior requires boundaries. Marie says customer service should be equitable, but unfortunately, it very much so, Marie. It is selective. It is selective. It is selective. It is selective. So hear this one. If your kindness changes depending on someone's status, it isn't kindness, it's strategy. If your kindness changes depending on the status of the person in front of you, that's not kindness, you know. It's a strategy. And you have a status problem. So here's what institutions underestimate. A bad interaction can last 5 minutes. The emotional impact can last much longer. So people tell their spouses, they tell co-workers, they tell friends, they post online, they leave reviews. So when someone experiences bad customer service, They go and tell all their friends. They post it online. They leave bad reviews. And they tell their friend, and their friend tells their friend, and that friend tells their friend. And you don't realize how detrimental that can be for your organization. And that's why it is important that customer service becomes a leadership top priority. It becomes a leadership issue. And here's the interesting part. It can cause reputational. It can cause reputational damage. But here's the interesting part. They may forget exactly what you said to them, you know. When you provide bad customer service, the person may forget exactly what you said, but remember exactly how the encounter felt. And this is why service recovery matters. Sometimes organization makes mistakes, and that's life. Orders go wrong, appointments get mixed up, systems fail, and people make errors. But great customer service doesn't mean nothing ever goes wrong. Great customer service means when something goes wrong, people care enough to make it right. Apologize and make it right. Apologize and make it right. Because sometimes 4 sentences can transform an entire interaction. I am sorry. Say it, man. I understand why you're frustrated. Let me see what I can do. Or I'll take responsibility for following this up. Those statements cost nothing, but they communicate something incredibly valuable, that the customer matter. When a customer hears that, what the customer is hearing is that you matter to this organization. But how many of us experience that? How many of us experience that? So now let's talk leadership. Let's talk leadership. Because when bad customer service becomes consistent, stop blaming individual employees and start examining the culture. So if one employee behaves poorly, that may be an individual performance issue, not truth. If 10 employees behave that way, that problem is a leadership issue. When 10 employees behave the same way, that's not a one-off situation. That's a leadership issue. Because leaders establish what? What gets corrected, what gets tolerated, what gets rewarded, and what gets ignored. And eventually, what leaders tolerate becomes what organizations normalize. So you see how customer service can become a leadership problem? So we know you're going to have that one employee. We're going to have no one that one employee who will go rogue and deal with a customer in an unfortunate way. Yeah, we understand that. But when you have multiple employees dealing with customers in less than ways, it's a culture problem. It's a leadership problem. And it means you are allowing those things. You're accepting those things in the organization, so you normalize them. And anything you normalize, anything you accept and you normalize it becomes your culture. Think about that. So if employees routinely ignore customers and nobody address it, that's culture. If emails routinely go unanswered, that's culture. If telephone etiquette is consistently poor, that's culture. And eventually that culture produces consequences. What are those consequences, you may ask? Loss of trust. As Marie says, yes, leadership sets the tone. So those things result in loss of trust, reputational damage, I heard that earlier, customer complaints, staff disengagement, loss of business, poor reviews, and sometimes the organization becomes famous for the very thing its mission statement claims it doesn't represent. Sometimes the organization becomes famous for the very thing its mission statement claims it doesn't represent. And that's why I said earlier. What is on the wall? What is on the wall? Isn't good customer service. It's how people experience. It's the experience your customers have. So hear this. Thank you, Mikiko. Now hear this. You can spend millions marketing your organization and have one employee destroy the message in 5 minutes. What did I say? You can spend millions. You can spend millions marketing your organization and one bad employee destroy that message in 5 minutes. Thank you so very much. So remember, your logo is not your brand. Your slogan is not your brand. Your beautiful building isn't your brand. The experience people have when they enter your organization is your brand. Customer service is not a department. It's everyone. Exactly, Kaf. It's not a department. It's everyone's job. It's everyone's job. Perfectly said. So people think the logo, the slogan, the beautiful building is your brand. No, that's not your brand. Your brand is the experience. How people experience. What experience do people have when they walk into your organization? When people speak to you, or they experience, or they walk away feeling. That's your brand. What will people walk away saying about you? That is your brand. So even, let's just shift it away from organizations now. Even in our own individual spaces, when you're dealing with people, how you let them, or they walk away feeling after an experience, a conversation with you, that's your brand. That is what you'll be known for. If you'll be known for a kind and patient person, or if you'll be known as a bully, or someone who's aggressive. So how people experience you, how people walk away from an experience with you, feeling that is your brand. And that is customer service. The same thing. When people walk into your organization, when people call your organization, when they hang up that phone, how they feel, that is the company's brand. When they walk into the office, how your employees treat them, how they cater to their needs, that is your brand. Not the beautiful sign. Not it at all. Not the beautiful building. And that's why when you hear Christopher Tufton, the Minister of Health, said he's going to employ people, decoy customers to go into the different hospitals in Jamaica to see what the experience is like. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. So building these fancy hospitals now isn't brand, you know. It's the experience of the customer. It's the experience each patient walk away with. The same way in a school. The same way in a school. When all the students feel about their school, that's the brand. How parents feel when they deal with staff, when they deal with the leadership team, when they deal with anybody who's employed, when they deal with the security, that is brand. That is brand. And too often organizations spend little time focused on the brand. And the brand is not the logo, it's not the building, it is the people service. What service? How is that service offered? The experience, how people experience you, that is your brand. When people walk into your organization, the experience they walk away feeling, that is your brand. So to leaders watching tonight, here's my challenge. Stop evaluating customer service only from your office. Go experience your organization. Sometimes you have to call your own telephone number. Call it. How long before someone answers? Sometimes you make a fake email address and send an inquiry. Even if they didn't receive the outcome, exactly, it's anticipated. True. So when a company is known for providing bad customer service, as Marie says, even if somebody come And if all they're hearing about the company is bad, they're going to come expecting to receive bad customer service. If all they hear about the company is good, they're going to come expecting to receive good customer service. And that's why, as we said earlier, customer service can cause reputational damage. How people experience the organization. So as I said, sometimes as a leader, you need to call your own organization and see how long someone takes to answer the phone. Make a fake email address and send an inquiry. Or ask somebody to send an inquiry. And see how long before someone responds. When you walk through your reception area, what does it feel like? Observe how people are greeted. I walk the foyer and sit with the customer. Exactly. And most people don't do that. Most people don't do that. And when people email their complaints, read it, don't ignore it. Read it. Not defensively, but read it with some form of curiosity. Because you want to make it better. Every complaint is data. Every complaint contains some data. And sometimes the customer isn't right about everything. Let's be clear about that. Sometimes the customer isn't right about everything. But good customer service does not mean tolerating abuse. Employees deserve dignity. The employees deserve dignity too. But customers cannot shout at people, threaten employees, insult staff, and then hide behind the customer is always right. Let us get that straight. No, we're not tolerating that. But respect must travel in both directions. But even when a customer is wrong, professionals cannot maintain boundaries without abandoning professionalism. Even when things go wrong, as professionals, we must maintain boundaries without abandoning our professionalism. And that's emotional intelligence. That's leadership, real leadership there. So now we're going to finish directly. I want everyone watching to imagine that tomorrow, someone secretly records every interaction you have with the public. Your tone, your facial expressions, how quickly you respond, how you speak when you're frustrated, how you treat the person who cannot do anything for you. Would you be proud to watch the recording? That's the test. Because character is how we treat people when there's nothing to gain from treating them well. And perhaps tonight, somebody needs to admit, I've become impatient. I've become dismissive. I've forgotten why I entered this profession. I've allowed stress to change the way I treat people. And there's no shame in recognizing that. The danger is recognizing it and refusing to change. So what we're seeing tonight, the logo is not your brand. The fancy building is not your brand. The fancy equipment is not your brand. How people feel when they enter your establishment, how they feel after they leave, that is your brand. Because what they walk away saying about your business becomes your brand. So if people walk away talking about good, excellent customer service, that is what becomes your brand. If they walk away talking about horrible experience, that becomes your brand. And word travel like the wind, And especially in a time with social media, where everybody think it is okay to make a TikTok video, we have to be so careful about our brand and the kind of customer service we give. Because people, the experience that people have the experience that people have must be top tier. Must be top tier. So tonight I want to leave every employee, every leader, every entrepreneur, every teacher, every public servant, and every business owner with one challenge. Tomorrow, just make one person feel seen. Look up at them. Say good morning. Use their name. Listen before responding. Don't make them feel stupid for not understanding something. If you don't know the answer, help them find someone who does. And this is where, like a lot of, when you walk into some establishments, this is a big issue. They don't know, or you may go to the wrong department, and they tell you, that's not my department, and they don't offer any help. They don't point you in the right direction. They don't help you to solve the issue. No, they just let you know plain and straight, that's not their department. And you're left to figure it out by yourself. Tomorrow, if you made a mistake, own it now, own it. If your customer is frustrated, don't immediately become defensive. And if you're the leader, don't only ask, are our customers satisfied? As leaders, we must ask, how do people feel after interacting with us? Remember, we've said earlier that customer service, your brand, is not the logo. It's not the building. It's not the fanciness. It is how the people feel after interacting with us. How people feel after leaving your establishment. Because there's a difference. People can receive the service they came for and still leave feeling disrespected. You know that, right? You know, somebody can come into a bank to do a withdrawal, and they did their withdrawal, they got their money, but still walk away feeling disrespected and disappointed due to bad customer service. The same way a parent can come to a school to speak with a teacher. They get the information that they came for, but they walk away feeling humiliated, feeling disrespected. So this is how we interact with people. When people walk away from an experience with you, how do they feel? When they interact with you, how do they feel? It can become the brand of the company. It can become your personal brand. Because people are going to say, so-and-so, you're either a kind person, they'll describe you, and they use how they're going to describe you based on their interaction with you. That's how they will describe you, based on their interaction with you. But sometimes you're representing the organization at times. At times you are representing the organization. But at times you are representing yourself too. And how you represent yourself is your brand. Not how you dress. Not how you dress. But how you interact with people. And how people feel having interacted with you. Never forget that. So before you leave tonight, I want you to answer this. What's one thing every organization could do tomorrow to improve customer service? Let me hear from you. What is one thing you think every organization could do tomorrow to improve customer service? What is one thing? What is one thing you think organizations could do tomorrow to improve their customer service? Have people who listen to customers. I'm going to go first. Have people who listen to customers. Let me hear from someone else. What's one thing you think organizations can do to improve customer service? When you have people who listen to customers, you see, and listen to their queries, and offer to help, show some compassion, make yourself relatable. You know what that can do for you and what that can do for your organization? When people feel that when they walk into your establishment, they're seen, they feel seen, they feel that their issue is important to you. That's top tier customer service. So people may forget the transaction. They may forget the policy. They may even forget your name. But people rarely forget an organization that made them feel like they didn't matter. Let me go again. People may forget the transaction, yes. They may forget the policy. The fancy logo, they're going to forget that. They will even forget your name. But what they will never forget is how you made them feel. And perhaps the greatest customer service strategy ever created isn't complicated at all. Be mindful of the tone when communicating with customers. Exactly, Marie. And here's this point now. The greatest customer service strategy ever created isn't complicated, you know. The greatest customer service strategy is treat people like people. That's the greatest strategy. Forget the fancy names and the fancy strategies. Just treat people like they're human. Treat people like people. And if you do that, you'll be providing quality customer service. Treat people. When someone walks away from you, they shouldn't feel less than. So the greatest customer service experience, the greatest customer service strategies, just treat people like they're people. And that's leadership. That's culture. And that's where service begins. When you treat people like people. Kaf says, have empathy and... Exactly. Have empathy and sympathy. Have empathy and sympathy. So when you treat people like people, man, trust me, it changes the game. When anybody come into your organization, people come to talk to you. Nobody come to you and want to be humiliated. People don't come to you wanting to feel humiliated. No. They come to you because they have a request. They have a service need. And you provide that service, so you're supposed to deal with the person. And when you treat them as people, with, as a Kaf said, with empathy and with sympathy, yes, people will walk away. People will walk away with good experience. So what I want to leave with us tonight, I want to leave two things. I'm going to start with the personal first. Remember that as individuals, as humans, before there's a work and before the title, there's us, there's you. Remember, how you treat people becomes your brand. How you treat people is your brand. That is your brand. What will people say about you? What experience people have with you? When people walk away from a conversation or any experience with you, how do they feel? Do you treat them as people? Do you provide fair customer service? Or do you provide customer service based on status? Do you look at how someone presents themselves and adjust your customer service based on that? Or do you consistently provide the same level and quality of customer service? That becomes your brand. People observe. And they may not say to you, but they say to others. And people approach you based on what they heard, they hear about you. Kaf says, I created and implemented an action plan for effective customer service and handling complaints. Excellent. Because sometimes people in organizations, they don't know, you know. And if you follow some of them, they'll tear your organization to the floor. So they need to know what the expectations are. And if you're in an organization, remember now, from a leadership perspective, what you tolerate, what you normalize becomes your culture. So if treating people bad, if you allow your different staff members to speak down to customers, to ignore customers, to delay service to some customers, and you normalize those things, it becomes your culture. And then it is not an individual problem, it's a leadership problem, it's your problem, it's an organizational problem. And that becomes your organization brand. And as someone said earlier on the live, people enter your organization, your establishment, anticipating how they're going to be treated based on what they would have heard. Because word travel. If you provide good customer service, they hear, people hear. If you provide bad customer service, people hear. So remember, how you treat people matter. And the greatest customer service strategy to have ever been developed, treat people like people. And if we're going to treat people like people, we're going to treat them with dignity. We're going to treat them fair. We're going to listen to them. We're going to approach their concern with empathy. So treat people like people. Thank you very much, Healing Arts. That is the greatest customer service strategy. Too often, we walk into establishments, sometimes to spend our own money. Sometimes to spend our own money and walk away feeling as if we're begging. And it's so wrong. It is wrong. Sometimes you walk into an establishment and the customer service is so good, it's a breath of fresh air. But they're far and wide. You want me to tell you where bad customer service exists? In Jamaica. Jesus, peace. Woo! Jamaica needs a national strategy on customer service. Not just an individual organization strategy. Jamaica needs a national strategy on customer service. Trust me, customer service is horrible. It's horrible. I can guarantee you can go into 10 establishments in a day in Jamaica and you will walk away with one good experience. You won't walk away with 10. 9 of them will provide poor customer service. The people are treated as though they are begging. You call the banks, you're transferred all over the place. Sometimes the phone is hang up, the phone was hung up, disconnected midway. The phone is disconnected midway sometimes. You walk into the hospitals or down here, oh Lord. You have some good people you deal with. And then you have some horrible person. And what the CEO of Bellevue, what her daughter experienced yesterday and what she came on live last night and vented emotionally about was such an unfortunate situation. So I want everyone to know the greatest customer service strategy. Just treat people like people now. Treat people like people. When people walk away from your establishment, they should walk away with their dignity intact. You shouldn't, yeah. And some of us who deal with people based on status, based on how they look. Your smile is brighter and wider if they come when certain people enter the establishment. The suits and the ties and the expensive things. Your smile is bright and wide. But let someone enter and look simple. Wrong, man, it's wrong. And people enter the establishment and your face look as if the world is on top of your head. You don't business in customer service. You must come down. You don't business in customer service. That's not your place. Customer service requires top-tier professionalism all the time. Customer service requires top-tier professionalism all the time. And as established earlier, customer service is not a department. It's not the secretary job. It's not the security job. It's everybody's job. Everybody in an organization provides customer service, whether we like it or not. The janitor provides customer service. So when someone enters the organization, if the janitor is friendly, if the janitor offers to help, point them in the right direction, that's customer service, whether you like it or not. Or the security guard greet them, open the door for them, that's customer service. So customer service is everybody. It's everybody. It's everyone business. Everybody in the organization. From the top to the bottom. And when a leader should ensure that everyone in an institution know that customer service is everyone's business. And never ignore things. Because when you ignore negative customer experience, 5 minutes of negative customer experience can damage a company's reputation, can cause organizational damage, reputational damage, because word travel. And sometimes negativity has its own wings. So we have to be very, very careful and just treat people like people. That is what I'm leaving you with tonight. Treat people like people. That's the best customer service strategy to have ever been developed. Treat people like people. Treat them fairly. Treat them with compassion. Treat them with dignity. Don't treat them based on their status. No. Keep your treatment of people consistent, regardless of who is in front of you. So until tomorrow night, thank you for tuning in to Leadership Unscripted. It's really, really appreciated. Thank you so very much. Good night. It is the same time. We're here. So we're here at 8 o'clock every night, but the show starts at 8:30 every night. So every night the show starts at 8:30, but we're here from 8 p.m. every single night talking about a different leadership topic. Every single night we're here. We're here from 8 o'clock, but the show starts at 8:30. Leadership Unscripted is the name of the show. Please feel free to like, share, and invite your friends. And as soon as we come off the live, we usually publish the topic for tomorrow night. But we try to make the topic as topical as possible and topics that people can relate to. But we're here every night, Kaf. And thank you for joining, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Leadership Unscripted, nightly at 8:30 p.m. We're here every night. Every night we're here. Leadership Unscripted, nightly at 8:30 p.m. Thank you, Maria. Another insightful presentation. Have a restful one. Thank you so very much. Unscripted, nightly at 8:30 p.m. So I'm now going to medicate because I'm not feeling so well. Flu is killing me. But I cannot miss any night because I'm determined to build this platform. All right, thank you very much. Good night and stay blessed.